Perth is cooked. Really? Let's look at the data. Hey everyone, Scott here, and I've been hearing this since the start of the year. Perth is cooked, Perth is done, Perth has peaked. I've seen so many so-called property gurus online sounding the alarm, hey, Perth's over. And yet here we are 6 months later. You tell me, is Perth dead? Because I've been looking at the latest data from the Real Estate Institute of Western Australia and from Domain's National Housing Report, and I'll show you exactly what the numbers say. And since people are still calling 2026 the year Perth dies off, let's look at the facts, and then you can decide for yourself, because if Perth is not on your radar, you could be missing a huge opportunity to improve your wealth. Let's start with the Real Estate Institute of Western Australia, or REIWA. These guys are the state's official property body, and they track every sale, every listing, and every rental in WA. If you want to know what's really happening on the ground, this is where you look. According to REIWA, Perth's housing market isn't slowing down, it's actually speeding up. In September, the median time to sell a house dropped to just 8 days. That's the fastest pace in years. Units, just 9 days. That means the moment a property hits the market, it's gone. Homes are selling before the first weekend's over because demand is actually so strong right now. Some of Perth's more affordable areas are selling in as little as 4 or 5 days. Buyers are lined up, pre-approved, and ready to pounce. That's not what a cooked market actually looks like. That's a market on fire. REIWA says Perth's median house price has jumped 13.3% over the past year, and unit prices are up an incredible 18%. That's solid, steady growth, not a bubble, not a crash. But here's what's really driving it. Listings are now at record lows. There are fewer than 2,800 properties for sale across all of Greater Perth, and that's about 30% lower than this time last year. So you've got more buyers chasing fewer homes, and that pushes prices higher. And it's not just prices. Rents are up 4.6% in the past year, and the vacancy rate is just 0.7%. That is basically zero. Tenants cannot find homes. Landlords have waiting lists, and investors are getting some of the best yields in the country. All of that means there's still huge demand and barely any supply to match it. So what's behind all of this? Number one, we have population growth. WA has the strongest population growth in the country. People are moving to Perth for work, lifestyle, and affordability, and that population boom is putting more pressure on housing. Number two, we've got a shortfall in new housing. Developers say Perth needs around 17,000 new homes every year, but we're only building about 13,500. So the gap between what we need and what's being built is widening every single month. Number three, the economy. Now, according to CommSec's latest State of the States report, WA has been ranked Australia's best performing economy for the fourth quarter in a row. Strong retail spending, business investment, and job growth, that's the foundation of a healthy property market. So when people say Perth has peaked, I just don't see it. All the data says the opposite. Here's what I'm seeing and hearing from my team, from buyers, brokers, and agents every single week. Open homes are packed. Agents are saying, if you want it, make your offer above the asking price and make it fast. And there's no time to wait because there's always another buyer ready to grab that property. Developers are doing their best to bring new supply to the market, but it's tough. Approvals are taking way too long, construction costs are high, and red tape keeps things slow. Even with all of that, demand hasn't eased one bit. And that's why homes are selling faster, not slower. Now let's get on to 2026. People keep saying that's when Perth falls off a cliff. Well, let's see what the numbers actually say. Population growth is strong. Migration is steady. Supply is still short. Rents are rising, and the economy is leading the nation. That doesn't sound like a market running out of steam. It sounds like a market gearing up for another year of solid growth. Even Domain's latest national report says Perth remains one of the country's strongest markets, with steady momentum and continued buyer confidence. So I'll ask you again, after seeing the data, after hearing what's happening on the ground, do you think Perth is dead, or is it just getting started? Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you want to stay ahead of the market and understand what's really going on, hit like, hit subscribe, and keep watching the Daily Property Update. This is your 3 to 6 minute update every single day so you can stay on top of the property market and be a property insider.